Hello and welcome to Tucker Games. Just finished Liverpool 3, West Ham United 1 at Anfield. Gonzo, let's start with the first 10 minutes of the game. I mean, we could have been 2-0 up.
Yeah, that certainly should have been 1-0 up. I think it's probably fair to say. Obviously, I thought the Souček header was well saved, really well saved. But fair play for him to being in there. I mean, it was an excellent save. The Antonio chance was a miss. It's as simple as a bad miss as well. Really, really bad miss. So I think Souček did everything right, and Antonio did everything wrong. So yeah, I certainly felt we should have been. I think Alisson's such a good goalkeeper. I think he makes that save, well, and he would always make that save well. But I think, should have been 1-0 up, and we were playing really well. Purring, actually, I pressing really high, Geo, actually. Pressing had 5 players pressing really, really high, giving Liverpool nowhere to pass. And, we were looking pretty good, really.
Yeah, the first 10 minutes was really good. I agree with you, by the way. I think it's a top save from the best goalkeeper in the league, really. Souček couldn't really do much. Could he have done more? Well, of course he could have done. But he's quite far out, actually. He does really well to get it that low into the corner. It's just a really good save. But Antonio's is the easier chance, and he somehow makes an absolute mess of it. He couldn't have asked for a better cross either. How he's managed to get it that wrong, I do not know. But after 10 minutes, I thought, well, this is promising. We're quite high up the pitch. We've created the best 2 chances of the game by far. Should possibly be 1-0 up. But then it started to just unravel a little bit from there. Gonzo. Liverpool started to get their foot on the ball, calm the game down a little bit. They looked dangerous on the counter-attack. Our attacks became few and far between, and it just seemed a little bit one-way traffic for a period. And then they did make it 1-0 through a Mo Salah penalty. But how did you see the incident?
I don't know if I've got the 2 bits confused. It seems like Zuma was pressing very, very high up the pitch, too high up the pitch. But he was on his own. No one else was pressing. So I felt they got back into the game. As I said at the start, we were pressing as a 5 and doing so really, really well, by the way. But I think at that point, I thought it was a series of basically lots of players got out of position by the time the ball eventually went over to Salah. But, but the main culprit is a Gerd here on this one. There's no doubt about it. It was, really, really clumsy, really poorly timed. Just the tackle was poorly timed. It's very frustrating to see, actually, particularly elite level sportsmen. It's I know it's not hand. I call it hand-eye coordination, but you know what I mean. Your timing, it should be. He was missing it by so much. I know Salah's quick, but I don't think that was really evidence of that. It was a bit of a swinger, but he was left on his own in the middle. But the whole lot was pretty shoddy defending, actually.
A really good counter attack from Liverpool, actually, and the halfway line. They just go and they're just really quick at it. And it was a bit of an average ball from Diaz into Nunez, but it's a difficult one. And Nunez could only get a touch to it to glance it backwards. It takes a Garrett. Sort of takes Aguerd out the game a little bit as it rolls to Salah. But I think Aguerd's clumsy's one where I think he's naive as well to still go for the ball rather than just put the brakes on and let Salah have it, because we all know what he's going to do. He's going to try and get onto that left foot of his. But Aguerd, while that's Salah's ideal plan, kind of get onto the left and shoot, Aguerd basically says, hey, I'm going to come to you. So the only thing you can do is get it onto your left foot as well. It's just stupid defending in the end. I think it's just naivety. He just panics a little bit, and he doesn't quite lunge in, but he takes that extra stride, which he doesn't need to do. He should just stand still, accept that we've lost the ball there, and just try and block Salah's shot. But stonewall penalty, really good penalty from Salah, 1-0 Liverpool. And then up until we made it 1-1, again, I felt like they were relatively in control, but we did make it 1-1 though, and I have to say I thought it was a fantastic team move, Gonzo.
It was, but before that goal knocked the stuffing out of us. That killed. I thought it killed our energy. I thought it killed our intent. It was a sucker punch. The goal was was terrible for West Ham, actually. I thought it killed our spirit, basically. Our goal was an excellent goal. Another assist for Soufal, and a stooping header as well, and another sort of low glancing header. And Bowen had started quietly. I was a bit worried about him starting the game, actually, but he'd started to grow into the game at this point. And it was a good header. It was a good goal, and back in it at that point, Gio.
I thought it was a fantastic goal from us. I think the ball from Paqueta to Bowen's good. I
Good
think
header down.
the header down's brilliant. Antonio does really well to pick out Sufal, gives it straight out to him. Then him and Bowen are running into the box. In this case, of can Sufal pick someone out? And I actually think it's an average cross. It is an assist for him. I don't think it's the best cross in the world, but it's a excellent header from Jerry Bowen. The finish from him is superb, and it turns into a good cross, really. But out the three headed chances we had, that was the most difficult one, and we put it in the back of the net. We didn't even hit the target one of them, and it was outstanding save from Alisson for the other. But it was 1-1, and it felt a little bit like, right, okay, we're back in the game now. We got to have time at 1-1. What were you thinking at the break?
Oh, well, I thought we'd be back in it. I thought we would. I thought we'd go for it. I thought there'd be, maybe some substitutions coming relatively early if we'd have kept it tight. I just didn't expect. I didn't expect the level of individual performance to be as bad as it was collectively. So I was really hopeful. I thought some people would step up their game. It looked like Bowen was growing into the game because of what I said. Paqueta was obviously, playing really, really well. And he disappeared for about 20 minutes in that first half. But there were times during that first half where he looked like the best player on the pitch, to be fair as well. So I thought, we only need one or two more to start playing well, and we can really contest this game. Unfortunately, what we got was at least one or two more playing worse than they'd played in the first half, which it killed anything really.
I think I was okay at halftime, largely because of the scoreline. If you said to me at halftime it would be 1-1, I say yes, please. I don't even care how the first half looks. I'll take that. We're 45 minutes away from getting something, and we're back in the change room with an opportunity to change something and maybe try and get something a little bit more. And I thought we were playing well in spells in the first half. And, the first 10, 15 minutes, I thought we looked good. Their goal killed us completely. And they started to just really control the tempo of the game. And, Jones was very unlucky not to have a second goal for Liverpool. It was correctly ruled out for offside, but it was just millimetres in it. It was really unfortunate. The referee was doing my nutting, quite frankly. I will make this clear. We haven't lost because of the referee. I'm not saying he's cost us the game. I'm just saying I thought he was poor. Antonio was frustrating me, kept going down too easy. I get it. First couple of times, go down, see if you can get anything from the referee. Try and win free kicks. But after the first couple of times, realise you're getting nothing. The referee's giving you nothing. Whether they're free kicks or not isn't what I'm debating here. The referee's giving you nothing. Play to the referee, which is, it's a physical battle now. He's a big guy. I've seen him bully the best centre-backs in the Premier League. And at one point, he did barge into Matip, win the ball. He got us a throw-in. Nothing too exciting, but you beat him in a physical battle. But he was just, every bit of contact, he was going down, holding his ribs, asking the referee, you're not getting free kicks, mate. He's not giving you the last two. He's the last four. Why are you expecting the fifth one for the referee? So they go, actually, you know what? Can start getting free kicks. He's not doing it. Get on with the game. Play the game. He was really frustrating me, Antonio. I thought he had a bit of a stinker in the first half. I don't think Bowen looked fit. Goal aside, I think you could tell he's not 100%, and I think he really struggled. But at the same time, I think we had the best player on the pitch, and Lucas Paqueta. I think Alvarez was looking really good at spells. How comfortable he looks in possession. It scares me a little bit at times when he invites somebody to press him and goes the other. I think, whoa, hang on a minute. But he was good at it. So there was a lot of positives. I say a lot. There's a few positives and a few must-do betters. Well, we'll review the whole game as an entirety at the end of the video, Gonzo. But it took 15 minutes for Liverpool to make it 2-1 Darwin Nunez this time.
Oh, I mean, what a goal. What a goal, by the way. Very, very clever centre-forward play. Positioned himself between the two central defenders. He had started off on Zuma's side. He lost Zuma. I don't think Gerd was looking that way and Nunez was there. I don't think Gerd even knew he was there. Pretty impressive goal, actually. He was better than our central defenders for that, and I thought it was a highly impressive goal, actually. It's not a lot. But by that time they were all over us. So they were just much better than us by that point, and there was an inevitability because things hadn't been changed. I don't feel the manager had noticed the trends in the game. So yeah, it was that. By that point, I did feel it was inevitable. I didn't feel in the game anymore at that point, and I thought it was only a matter of time until they broke their way through. It was just before that, before he scored. Gerd had played him on side, and he had a really good chance to score. And the back line was like that. and a Gerd was there, and it was bad. I mean, it was really bad.
And Nunez was 2 yards away from he wasn't even next to Nunez. If he was stood next to a girl, you sort of let him off with it, but he was 2 yards away from Nunez, and it was just horrific. No. But it's one of them. Show me a goal, I'll show you a mistake, and you can point the finger at Gerd here, you can point the finger at Zuma here. I mean, both of them have to take the blame because there's zero communication, as you said. Nunez has stood between the pair of them. Neither of them know where he is.
Yeah.
It's a top-class ball from McAllister. It's a great run. It's a superb finish. So it's a good goal. I have to be honest with you. I feel like Areola could maybe be coming off his line. It felt like that ball was in the air for a long time. It felt like quite a slow loft over the top. And Areola sort of goes to come, then hesitates, and especially after conceding not a similar goal against Man City, but the same sort of put it over the top with defence to land an 18-yarder goal. I don't know. I was a bit disappointed to concede that goal, even though it was fine by Liverpool, and Liverpool fans would be pudding about it, rightly so. I would be if it was West Ham. Just like Liverpool fans would be questioning Van Dijk getting beaten for Jared Bowen's headed goal. We're not going to talk about that because we're a West Ham channel, so we're not going to look at it from Van Dijk's perspective. But from our defensive perspective, I do feel like we could be doing a lot better individually and collectively. It just felt a bit poor, but like you said, it felt inevitable at that point. Nunez missed an absolute sitter, and we got away with it. But there's only so many times you can get away with it before they're going to take one, and they did. They made it 3-1 just before the end. Gonzo, Jota with the goal, headed down from Van Dijk. But before that, Jared Bowen had a free header and should really be scoring that one.
Oh, absolutely, should really be scoring that. Yeah, it was a good. It wasn't a corner; it was a free kick from wide, wasn't it? But I mean, on the money delivery from Ward-Prowse on that one again, and on another day that goes in, and we can look to that. We can look to the Antonio chance. We can look to the Bowen chance, and maybe we could have scored 4 goals today. But when do you ever score all the chances you get? No, Liverpool were better today, Gio. Look, we were going to be doing our when we do our player ratings. Cheeky little plug for Patreon there, patreon.com/Hammers Chat. When we do our player ratings, there's going to be some unflattering marks for the West Ham players, and just they had a higher level of output. They were, we're one or two of our players I thought played well, and maybe 1 or 2 is pushing it. It's a bit stingy, maybe more, but there was a good few who played poorly.
I think you're right. I think there was only 1 or 2 played well. I think there's a few average performances in there as well, but by and large, I don't think there was anyone that was particularly, even the ones that have been reliable this season,
for sure, didn't
show up today. Do you want to discuss their third goal, or
no? I just think it was gone. I mean, but their second goal was the least. That was the least of my issues. But I thought it was fantastic. It was skillful. It was fantastic. Okay. I don't have a huge amount, but because I just think there's other reasons to pick apart the culprits for the goal, I mean, but by that point, I mean, we were not defending well. I mean, that should be said. We were not defending well at all. You want to talk about individuals. You had Soufal there who crossed well in this game, but defended really averagely and at times very poorly. That's I was quite happy to make the excuse for Doku there, but it's a couple of games, and I know it's against the top teams, and that's absolutely fine. But even I don't think Zuma played well. I thought a Gerd was an accident waiting to happen. The best thing I'll say about the defence is, actually, this is the worst thing I can say about the defence, is that Emerson was probably, I'm not including Alvarez in Emerson, I thought would come out the best out of those 4 players across the back line, and that's not really going to keep many goals out if your left back is the best one, and everyone else is having poor to an average game there. So yeah, there was an inevitability about it, really. But I think it's a shame. I think it's frustrating because I don't feel it had to be that. We didn't go into the game. We went into the game with a spring in our step. We started the game with a spring in our step. We were once again in the game, and I felt collectively and tactically we let it slip through our fingers. And I didn't feel that there were enough players in that game with enough drive to really capitalise on the fact that Liverpool were. They showed some moments of class. That second goal was a moment of class, but Liverpool were not as good as Man City, for instance. And I just, I feel there was an opportunity there, and we didn't take it, and that's totally our fault because I don't think there's too many players did not play well enough in that game, and David Moyes got some decisions to make.
I think the second half disappointed me a lot, to be honest with you. I don't think we were ever at the races at all. The attitude was poor, the effort was poor. Any tactical game plan that we had was non-existent, really. I didn't notice anything that we had. It felt a little bit, let's just try and keep it tight, get a set piece and do something. But there was that little threat we had in the first half was gone in the second half. I just didn't feel, when we got the ball, it felt like there was nothing there. Paqueta at times looked fantastic, but other times looked like he couldn't be arsed. He wasn't moving at all, which is frustrating. I think Liverpool's weakness is the right back area. Gomez got ripped apart last week at the Molineux, so much so that he had to get substituted off. Barely touched him today. I think they had an obvious weakness, and we didn't try and do anything against it. I understand why he went with the starting 11, but it's clear quite early that Bowen was a little bit under the weather, which is fine. But we didn't do anything about it. The subs were far too late. Even at 1-1, we were looking tired. We were looking a little bit out of ideas. And the chance to inject some energy, try something a little bit different was there. We can't keep spending tens of millions and only use 12, 13 players. You can't do that. It's okay in the manager's first full season, certainly, because that's not necessarily his squad. But by now, and this is where, like I keep saying, he's been here 4 years now. That doesn't happen in the Premier League anymore. This is now his squad. You can't just limit yourself just to that little players. And it was frustrating to see the substitutes not come in. And when they did, they perhaps weren't the best. But we were out the game by this point. We were out the game.
The substitutes were bloody awful. Let's say that. I absolutely agree with everything you said, by the way.
We were out the game, though. When the subs come on, I didn't think, oh, here we go. I thought, well, it's too late. It's done. Like, you're bringing on two fresh players, but the 9 that are out there with them they're on their arses, to be honest with you. There was the confidence. We had a little bit of swagger in the first 10 minutes, and that sort of confidence just seemed to seep out of them bit by bit as we went on during the game. And come the second half, there was none left in them. The boys stopped believing, and it was just frustrating because Liverpool are a good team. Like I said when we did the preview, I think they'll push City for the title this year. I think they'll be in the title challenge, and I think they'll probably finish second in the Premier League. So this is a top team we're playing. You look at their attack. Their attack was fantastic today. Diaz and Nunez and Salah were all superb. And then he brings on Gakpo and Jota as if like you not been battered enough as it is, kind of thing. So we're up against a really good team. So this game isn't going to determine how we do this season. It's not. I rocked up today expecting nothing. I was optimistic. I was hopeful we could have got something, but I was expecting no points. Moyes, I think it's 19 games or something. He's done nothing at Anfield. So to expect him to suddenly do it on his 20th one,
for sure, it's
unrealistic. So I expected nothing, but I still find myself disappointed, Gonzo, by what I witnessed in the second half from us today. There was nothing. There was just nothing.
So should be. So should be. That was too hesitant from the manager and the players. Too few of them underperformed. And do you know what? I got a level of sympathy actually for Paquetá by that point. Disinterest. He's there thinking, look, I'm trying everything here, fellas. Do you know what I mean? I honestly don't blame him for that. I really don't. And even once he was absolutely knackered and he picked up and did that lovely ball for Bowen there. But listen, Bowen will come away from that game with more credit than a lot of them. Don't get me wrong. I'm not digging out Bowen here, but he probably thought, oh, for goodness sake, do you know what I mean? Not, first touch. Come on, I think at times he was trying to take on Liverpool single-handed. Look, we're going to do on Patreon a review with the with your chap, the Liverpool
Neil,
fan whose name escapes me.
Neil from the Anfield Wrap.
Who was very good on your video. I fully expect him to say, "Oh, that Paqueta's good that plays for you." You would expect that. So, who's stepping up to join him? Who's gonna help sort of thrust the team forwards? And too few did.
Yeah, and individual performers, take your pick.
Oh,
good or bad, you choose.
I was really disappointed, but I've got to say, I don't think he was. I've sort of had it with a Gerd, but we'll deal with him. I don't know. Anyway, I'm a bit annoyed about it actually. I thought Soufal played really poorly as well. I thought I actually thought, fair play to Souček. I thought he wasn't too bad in this game, actually. I thought he really did have his moments. I thought he supplied a wonderful cross, obviously. I think it was Antonio that he supplied. It was him doing that particular cross.
Yeah,
Well, it must have been because he couldn't have supplied the cross that he headed. So, yeah, he definitely did that one. He had a couple of really good chances, or there was some good tackles. So, I don't point the finger at him on that. And look, Ward-Prowse tried his best. I thought his deliveries were pretty good as well. It's people in there have got to be better. But Antonio, I mean, you summed it up. I would just be repeating what you said: fall over, complain, fall over, complain, fall over, complain. I did not like what I saw there at all. And talk about Antonio. Antonio can sometimes bully, but he got bullied. And what was his answer? It was to complain. He didn't have one. I was frustrated as what I wanted to do was take Alvarez's attritional spirit and transplant it into Antonio's body. I want to take his mental fight. He seems annoyed about everything. Alvarez annoyed when he gets beaten by someone dribbles past him. He's gnarly and he's nasty. And we would say this a lot. You would not want to play Monopoly with that bloke, right? He is nasty. And I wanted to take his fight and his spirit and put it in this muscle-bound brute that is Antonio. But come on, get in there. Do you know what I mean? And have some of that and go and take it and have him, wipe him out, wipe Van Dijk out, go and have a go, have a pop. Do you know what I mean? And I was very, very disappointed with that. And you've got to lead from the front. And he'd given up, Geo, at the end, 60-odd minutes, which was a long way before those substitutes happened. You bang on that. And he'd given up, and it was like that. And I half expected him to turn round and to Moyes and say, can we do a bit of that? I've had enough. But Moyes isn't blameless on that game anyway. But I'll make the point. This is a disclaimer. This is one game. We're talking about the game. I'm actually really pleased with the start to the season, obviously. But that's pretty crappy, actually, I thought.
Yeah, it dampens the spirits a little bit, and I think it's sort of you look at the Sheffield United one, thinking we need to get a win there just to sort of get back on track. Because after that, we've got Newcastle and Aston Villa, so two really difficult tests in the Premier League after the Sheffield United one. Antonio annoyed me today, but it's also the reason we're sort of half picking on Antonio. It's not just what we've seen, but because he shouted out his gob during the week as well. And if you're going to do that, you're going to put a target on your back, quite frankly, and the people are going to turn around and say, well, come on then, let's see what you've got. And his answer today was not much. And like I said, I don't mind him running his mouth per se. It doesn't actually bother me. But you've got to go back it up. You have to then go back it up on the football pitch. Paqueta came out during the week, said, I'm going to be the best player at Anfield. Well, I would sit here and say, you know what, he just done it.
Yeah.
He was the best player on the pitch, in my opinion. I thought he was magnificent. Is he perfect? No. Can he lose the ball quite often? Yes. But at one point today, Emerson went forward, got caught out, got a little bit of a knock. Paqueta sprinted 30 yards into the left back position. Like bloody, he still surprised me a little bit. And then 2 minutes later, there's a move down around. Paqueta just watches it go by him. He doesn't bother getting back. But at times, he does have that sort of work ethic in him, which isn't always attributed to just flair players. I thought the middle three, Souček, Ward-Prowse, Alvarez, they worked hard. And to be fair, I think every player did. I think Antonio worked hard. He was just ineffective. I thought Soufal worked hard. He just got torn apart. I think Gerd tried his best. He just made a mistake again. Zuma tried his best, but wasn't at his best. No. Emerson tried his best. Sometimes was good. Sometimes he had a few stinky moments today, Emerson. But I think he was someone, if there was any player in our team today that got a little bit run down with the lack of stuff happening in our team, I think it was probably Emerson. At one point, it looked like he was just going to try and skin the whole Liverpool team.
But he was up for it. He was one of the few that was up for it, I would say, about Emerson.
Took a little while to get back up, and I think he gave up a little bit. But I can understand why. It's a tough one to take despite expecting nothing. Anyway, before we do our final words, please do subscribe if you're new to Hammer's Chat. Click that big red button underneath your screen. It's completely free. It takes you a couple of seconds. Also, drop a like on the video underneath as it helps the channel out. Gonzo, can I get any final words from yourself? And I think we won't do a man of match, but I think we can both agree that it was Paqueta.
Yeah, a man of the match, but he doesn't get his cube or whatever, his Rubik's Cube, whatever they give him after the match. Disappointing. Do you know what? I don't mind losing. I do mind losing when I don't feel we've done the best we can. And I don't feel today we did the best we can. That wasn't the best reflection of ourselves. I think Liverpool would have heard a lot about West Ham. Maybe they've seen some of the highlights on Match of the Day and whatnot. And I wouldn't be surprised if West Ham rocked up today. Liverpool probably thought, that was easier than we thought. Maybe Wolves gave us a better test than West Ham did. So I don't think we gave the best account of ourselves today across the board, but with only a couple of exceptions. And I feel that was disappointing. And I do feel that David Moyes, both in terms of the personnel he's got to pick and to change that team around, he's got something to look at. And I also think he probably needs to look at himself a little bit, because he did not notice the change of flow in the game. And that concerned me.
I do not want to say, I understand these tactics and understand this team selection for Man City at home and Liverpool away. I get it. I don't necessarily agree with it. I get it. It's two different things. Accepting something and agreeing with something is two different things. I can accept it. I get what Moyes is trying to do. But what I will not do is accept it for Sheffield United at home. He's got a week now. I know we've got Lincoln during the week, right? But with the greatest of respect, that should be okay for us. We should be able to play nobody that's going to be starting against Sheffield United. We should be able to do that and win. So when we play Sheffield United next weekend, I want to see a different game plan. I want to see a different starting 11. And it's not just because of this defeat. This defeat should play into it a little bit. But it's also because Sheffield United at home is a completely different game to Liverpool away. And my concern is, when I was watching it today, I was thinking, we're going to do this against Sheffield United next week. We'll probably see the same starting 11, and we'll probably see the same tactics in the way that we're going to approach the game. And that's the thing that irritates me more than anything. But we'll have to wait and see. I think he could have changed it a little bit sooner. He could have tried to do something. And the players on the pitch weren't at their best day. They weren't good enough. I don't think it was helped by Moyes. I don't necessarily blame Moyes for the defeat. I think he could have done more.
Yep.
And I don't necessarily just blame the players for the defeat. I think they could have done more as well. So I think collectively it was a bit of a bad day for West Ham, but we were beaten by the better side. I think 3-1 is a fair reflection on the game. We could have probably scored a couple more, but I think they could have probably scored a couple more as well. Next week will be telling. If we win against Sheffield United, I'll forget about today pretty quickly. But if we get beat by Sheffield United, 3 defeats in a row, and suddenly you're starting to think, hang on a minute, it's a good start to the season's not panning out too well. The one thing I will say before we disappear, we've got a Liverpool fan here. For a little bit of context, perhaps, he says, impressed with West Ham. I think you're the best team to have come to Anfield by far. Played just as well as us. We just have more clinical players.
Well, it's nice of him to say so.
I
thought they were better than us.
Yeah, so. I do as well. But there's just a little bit of context for you. Anyway, myself and Gonzo are going to disappear. If you've enjoyed this video, please do drop a like on it by clicking thumbs up under the video. Subscribe to Hammer's Chat. Myself and Gonzo will catch up with you later in the week. If you wish to support the channel, please head to patreon.com/Hammer's Chat. In return for a small monthly subscription from £3.60 per month, you can unlock more Hammer's Chat videos, including our player ratings, which will be live tomorrow morning, where we go through each individual player from the starting 11 at West Ham, including David Moyes as well. We'll see you then.